We truly are all stronger together. Today, we've got Dylan Lennon with us. In just a few short months, he's built a Facebook group of over 10,000 real estate agents that are sharing ideas on how to utilize ChatGPT at a high level in their businesses. Today, he's going to share with us some of the things that he's learned in this first 6 months and what he's excited about that's coming in the future.
Well, welcome to another episode of Real Estate AI Flash. And today is a good one because we have a special guest, Dylan Lennon with Keller Williams from Asheville, North Carolina. He's been a real estate agent for the last 8 years. And this is what I love about him, Jimmy. He runs a human-powered, AI-enabled real estate business and has built a little small group that has 10,000 members for ChatGPT, AI mastermind, and Facebook group for real estate. So we're looking forward to diving in. So welcome, Dylan.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. So Jimmy, I think Dylan's like our I call it the next gen realtor that's really using AI. We're not going to hold this against him that he has a PhD from Gator Country, University of Florida. That growing up, you sort of had some views about University of Florida, but he has a PhD in academics, right, Dylan, and clinical trials.
Yep, PhD in nutrition, and did clinical trials for 8 or 9 years before diving into real estate.
And so he's a geek for data, so I think this is right up his alley. I think that's probably why he got attracted to AI. So let's dive in, Jimmy.
Yeah, Dylan, thanks for being with us, man. I love what you're doing. I mean, you're a perfect example, in my opinion, of what we're seeing as an evolution of the agent utilizing this technology to serve other people at a higher level. And I love that. I mean, this is kind of nice. I mean, we got 3 nerds on here for the data, so this will be fun. We're going to nerd out a little bit here. Dylan, let's talk about this because obviously, first off, tell us a little bit about the Facebook group, because I think this is the audience would love to be a part of that with what you're doing. And then also, I'd love to know kind of, since you started this, what's the most common question you're getting and how are you answering that for people that are joining that group?
Yes. So happy to geek out with you guys today. This is going to be a blast. The Facebook group started off as just a small, little, humble group of 50 geeks like me who are interested in how to figure out how to leverage AI tools like ChatGPT in a real estate business. And it started last summer, the summer of 2023, and nobody really quite knew what was coming down the pipe. I mean, I don't think any one of us were really ready for the level of change that has been brought about by this tech in our world. And so it just started off as a small group of 50 people and kind of organically grew over time. Over the summer, it kind of exploded. And we have a steady stream of agents joining the group who just want to figure out, like, how do I use this tech to do good in my business? And as part of the membership questions that we ask, it is a private Facebook group. We ask the question, what is your biggest question about AI? And even though it's been around for a little over a year, most agents still want to know, how do I get started with AI? How do I get started with ChatGPT? And so that's really the focus of the group is trying to identify those everyday use cases of AI in a real estate business. I know that there's a lot of really cool, fancy tools coming out every day, like how you can clone yourself now, you can clone your voice, you can clone your likeness. And we talk about those a little bit in the group, but for the most part, we focus on the things that agents struggle with every day. And that's where we start. We start with the daily pain points.
What are a few of those, if you don't mind sharing that?
They're not sexy. It's overwhelm. How do you manage taking kids to school, scheduling buyer presentations, getting ready for buyer presentations, dealing with an angry seller, managing conversations? One of the things that I think most people learn very quickly, whether they're new or have been using ChatGPT for a short period of time, is that it is really effective in helping you hone and craft your communication with the people in your world. And I mean, if we look back at the history of real estate, technology has changed how we communicate with our people on a very reproducible basis. I mean, we have newspaper, fax machine, we have personal computers, smartphones, and now we have ChatGPT and AI tools. And all it's doing is just changing the way that we communicate. And I think that learning how to use AI tools like ChatGPT to communicate better is probably one of the best ways to start to dabble in AI. And what's amazing is that you don't have to be techie in order to use it. You're programming the technology with your natural language, with your own voice, with your own words. And I think that there, I think we're all aware of the fear. There's sort of a general sentiment of excitement and fear and skepticism all kind of muddled together. And the fear I think that agents have is that it kind of challenges your own personal set of skills and beliefs if you think that you're going to have to learn how to know machine learning or artificial intelligence in order to use this thing, but you don't.
Right.
You already have all of the skills and knowledge that you need in order to use AI. And I think when agents realize that, that fear kind of floats away, or at least becomes smaller.
You know what's interesting, Jimmy, is most of us, at least I'm speaking for myself, coming from India, my vocabulary was like 200 words, right? Most of us are not good communicators. Like writer's block, we call it, right? If you could just ask a question and have a conversation with people, with the machine, like Dylan's talking about, it can spit out communication and it'll speed up your communication and improve your productivity, that to his point. So it's a great place to start. Is that what you're seeing, Dylan, with people in your ChatGPT group about if I'm listening to you at this podcast and say, I want to start somewhere, like the crawl, walk, run, where do you think agents should start with AI so they don't feel overwhelmed?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think that if we're talking about real estate, then I think that a great place to start are your fears and or your pain points, and then use ChatGPT to script around that. If we're talking about how to have a conversation or practicing conversations that we're having in real estate. For example, if you have rejection sensitivity and you're worried about, all of these lead gen books and all these trainings say you need to reach out to the people in your sphere and your database, but then most new agents encounter this sort of like, but I'm, and there's a hesitancy, and underneath that is sometimes rejection sensitivity. You're afraid of people saying no, or we don't need your help, or stop calling me. And one thing that you can do with ChatGPT is you can turn ChatGPT into a role-playing partner and start having those conversations with ChatGPT. And now if you download the app on your phone, you can actually talk to it. So if you're like me, the way that you chat with the keyboard is very different than how you chat on the phone. And so you can actually have a real conversation that's very human-like, that mimics a conversation that you might have with someone in your database. And I think that that's just one way one of thousands of ways that you can use ChatGPT to solve a real problem that you have personally in your business. And what's great about it is you can do it in the privacy of your home. You don't have to do it with there's another layer of sensitivity that agents encounter when they're doing it with in a group setting or with a coach, right? Because the person's real, but you can build your confidence alone with ChatGPT and then move into a real life scripting situation if you want.
Hey Dylan, this is what's kind of cool too is I literally I've been thinking about this recently is that I heard someone saying that we always were trained as real estate agents years ago. It was always to have the answers. You know what I mean? If somebody asks you a question, have the answer. But what I think ChatGPT and just artificial intelligence as a whole is doing is it's teaching us how to ask the right questions, which in reality is how you become the best salesperson possible, the best person to serve those clients at the highest level. So in reality, it's almost forcing us to come back to basics of learning how to ask the next question that leads us to get clarity on some things. Hey, I'd love to get real practical too. Like I know there's some people, because these are questions that I get from agents, and they're like, "Hey, on the marketing side, how can I utilize ChatGPT?" So, like, has there been anything that has come up in the group or that you've seen that you were like, "Man, that's really smart," and most agents can probably implement that pretty easily. Any type of specific things you've seen?
One of the great things about ChatGPT, and we'll focus on ChatGPT right now, is that you no longer need a huge marketing budget or a huge marketing team in order to have personalized, brand specific marketing for your real estate business. And this is something that's really exciting. It's like the lowest hanging fruit too when it comes to ChatGPT. I mean, the process of content creation is arduous, and often in order to do it really well, you needed a lot of money, or you needed a team, or you needed to pay somebody else to do it, right? But now with ChatGPT, you can teach ChatGPT about your business. I mean, in one of the previous podcasts, you talked about the custom instructions and how to give ChatGPT memory or information about your brand. But using ChatGPT for content creation is probably one of the first things that I like to do with agents that are new to the tech and want to actually do something in their business. And there are a lot of, you can go full tilt with this. There are agents in the Facebook group that they will bulk create 50, 100, 150 Instagram posts that are highly tailored, brand specific, targeted to the specific types of buyers and sellers that they want to attract to their business. And what's really insane is that you can do this in 5 minutes or less. We have an agent in the group that is doing a 100-day video challenge where she is posting an Instagram reel every day for the next 100 days. And all of the video topics were created using ChatGPT. She asked ChatGPT for basically 5 different pillars of video content, focusing on buyers, sellers, agents. Some of them were personal and some of them were just educational real estate content. And ChatGPT gave her a complete list of video topics. And then she went to ChatGPT and took it a level further and asked for all of the B-roll, the hook, the script that she needed to use in those videos. So we have agents that are using on a really high level and actually using it for implementation. And then others are just using it for ideation. You know, it helps with the think. It helps take the think out of some of these things that we may not have time to do because we're just so busy working in the business.
Hey, before Rajiv, you ask the next question, because I know that people are listening to this. I know what they've been doing. They've been saying, well, how do I find this Facebook group? How would they find the Facebook group? And then Rajiv, I'll turn it over to you for the next question, because I know that that's what people are sitting here thinking about right now. And we're going to have it in the show notes as well. But how would they find you, Dylan, in that Facebook group?
Yeah, it's called ChatGPT and AI Mastermind for Real Estate. So you just go into Facebook and search that; it'll pop up.
You know, interesting, Jimmy, interesting sidebar story. That's how I got into the group, because I just searched for ChatGPT and I looked at, and it shows you how many members were there. I think there were like close to 9,000 when I joined, Dylan. I don't remember, but and then I said, let me see what this group is about. And then Dylan, obviously being the admin, and I kind of saw the content. He'd be a great guest on the podcast, you know, after a while. And so it's a great group. I mean, it's all about learning. I mean, I think we're in an age where it's not about knowing it all. It's about learning it all to can implement practical strategies to kind of move your business forward, right? So, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to go back to what Jimmy said, which was about asking the right question. Oftentimes, asking the right question can be the make or break sort of deal breaker situation that happens in a phone conversation, whether it's with a new lead or an existing client. And what I really enjoy doing is taking my notes from calls and inputting them into ChatGPT de-identified, and then asking ChatGPT to offer up some suggestions for a follow-up call or a follow-up question, or just to give me some insight. You know, we're all human. We're all, you know, don't know what we don't know. And sometimes having the leverage of artificial intelligence to analyze a conversation that we had can help produce some real useful insights. So sometimes we just deal with overwhelm and we're fatigued and we don't know what to say or how to respond, and it can also help with that.
And that's brilliant.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is good stuff. I think you've covered really good topics for people to get started, right? The pain points, the fears, take that and kind of dive that in. Now, you probably have some people in your Facebook community that are already are crawling now with ChatGPT. They're comfortable and are walking, for the analogy. And you're probably finding some use cases there, Dylan, that are common. These people are doing some things well. how can somebody as an agent, if I'm doing some things well with ChatGPT, take that to the next level as we wind down the pod? What are some things that they should think about? Because I believe learning is all about ongoing learning, your lifelong learning. We're all learning. We're three geeks, but we're still learning, right? So what are some things you would suggest for people that are comfortable with AI to take it to the next level without overwhelming them?
Great question. I think that remembering that things are changing on a daily, weekly basis is important. So what works today may not work tomorrow. I think staying up to date and listening to podcasts like this, signing up for newsletters. Rowan Chung on Twitter is a great person to follow. There's a lot of good resources for information on what's coming. And I think that we're so early in this technological change that it's important, if you're looking to stay ahead or just keep up with things for that matter, staying plugged in is really important. In terms of a real estate business, I think that the more documented your systems are, the better you will be in the AI space. So what I mean by that is I think that we're moving in a direction where AI tools are going to be able to operate for us as virtual assistants, which they kind of do now, on a somewhat autonomous level. And having documented systems for your real estate business, SOPs on how you onboard new clients, sellers, buyers, how you go from contract to close. I think having that really well documented for your business is going to pay dividends later. It pays dividends regardless, but especially if you're trying to leverage a computer to help you with some of those things, it's important that you have all of those things really well defined. And that's kind of a high level, but bringing it down, I think that the next step to go from you just using ChatGPT to create content is usually I see agents go into some sort of automation. And so they bring in Zapier or Make and start having AI integrate with their existing systems in that way. So we have some agents in the group that they cast wide nets in terms of lead gen, and they have automated responses to new leads. And I don't know if you've heard of HeyGen or Be Human, but both of those are will reproduce your likeness. You can clone yourself. You just record a sample video and it will generate an AI version of you. And what's cool with these tools is that if you hook them up to your CRM via Zapier, you can, the moment you have a new lead, send a personalized custom video to that lead. It'll say, "Hey, Jim, thanks for signing up on my website." And it'll be a video of you in their inbox. So people are doing creative things like that. I think that it's still wide open in terms of what's possible. So that's what's really exciting.
You know, what's interesting, Jimmy, is as Dylan was talking about what's coming, you and I, we all know the speed of change is like fascinating. I mean, and overwhelming, to be precise. And we're like in iPhone 4 territory with ChatGPT, but the speed at which we're going to get to iPhone 15 is like, we feel like it's coming fast and furious. And to your point, Dylan, the thing I like about where I mean, I can see AI agents, and we're not talking about real estate agents, AI agents that are going to fully automate some things, processes. So the more documentation, to Dylan's point, that you have already of how you run your business, you can leverage this stuff more as we go forward.
Yep.
So there's more to come. And to your point, stuff changing. Me and Jimmy did an episode. We're going to re-record. We did a comparison between GPT and Bard, and then Bard became Gemini, and Gemini became 1.5. That's for another episode. But to your point, staying plugged in. And your group is a great place to plug in. So for people that are listening to this, join the group, watch what Dylan's doing and sharing some intel. So that's going to be great stuff, Jimmy. Anything for wrap up?
Yeah, I would say this. I would say what I love about the group is that there is a diversity of level of competency. You know, you can be somebody that's just starting, or you can be somebody that's on the tip of the spear, so to speak. I mean, where Rajiv is and everybody's getting something out of it. So Dylan, I'm anticipating you have no idea what this group is going to look like a year from now. I mean, we're talking about in 6 months, 10,000 people organically finding it. It's going to be a thriving community where agents can learn skills that'll help them take their business to the next level. So Dylan, other than the group, and if you don't mind, mention the group again, but tell people how they can find you, because I know they're going to want to reach out and say thank you for sharing your knowledge today as well.
Sure. Yeah, you can find us at ChatGPT and AI Mastermind for Real Estate, or you can send me an email with any questions or wonderments about AI and ChatGPT at dylan@nerdyagents.com. I'm also on Instagram, nerdy_agent. And yeah, love geeking out with folks about what this stuff can do. And one last piece of practical advice is don't sign up for any annual subscriptions to fancy AI tools. Just pay for the monthly version, because things are changing so quickly that something could become outdated in a month or two.
Great stuff.
Great.
Great stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Dylan, for everything. I know you guys got something out of this. Make sure you reach out, let Dylan know, join that Facebook group, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.